nice weather today, so I'm gonna go head up and do a hike to Humpback Rocks in Central Virginia. Here we go. So I'm starting out here today in Wintergreen Resort. About 2 miles from the entrance to Wintergreen is the Blue Ridge Parkway. So I'm going to use that to access the trailhead to Humpback Rocks. That's probably the easiest way to get there, to just do that particular hike. You can also get there through the Appalachian Trail if you have more time. You know, you can hike in and connect to the trail that takes you to the rocks, but I don't have that kind of opportunity today, so I'm just going to drive up there. You know, we have no scamp with us today. Obviously, it's just a day trip. We haven't had any scamp trips in the last few weeks, unfortunately. And the reason is because winter's just sort of hung around a little bit. Every weekend it's been too cold for me to go out scamping. Of course, we can be warm in the scamp, and when you go outside, there's not much I want to do, so we've held off. Good news, we have some upcoming trips planned. Good weather's supposed to stick around for a little while, so maybe we'll get some small weekend stuff going. But in May, we'll be going to South Carolina for a long weekend. And also going to hit up the Outer Banks later in the month too. So we got some stuff coming up that we're excited for. There's always beautiful scenery in the Blue Ridge Parkway, and today was no exception. Earlier in the day, I was remarking about how much the leaves were filling out in the trees, but apparently at this elevation, not quite happening so much. We were looking at a bunch of branches and sticks, but that's okay. It was still beautiful nevertheless. When approaching from the south, the main parking area to access the Humpback Rocks Trail will be on the right after you pass the Humpback Rocks picnic area. If you're coming from the north, it will be on the left, basically immediately after you pass the Humpback Rocks Visitor Center area. And here we are. Luckily, I was able to get a spot without having to park somewhere funky. A loop trail here that's quite a bit longer. Unfortunately, time today won't let me do that, so we're just gonna do the 0.8 mile sort of up and back trip to the rocks. Here we go. The sign said 0.8 miles, but according to my watch, it was about 1 mile both directions. Now, I did take some small side trips, but I'm more or less stuck to the main path, so I think it's about a mile actually. Nice spot to relax and check out some views. You know, there's quite a few of these spots along the way, which is nice because, you know, the trail is pretty much uphill the whole way. While it's not like overly steep, you know, it's nice to have a few moments to pause and enjoy some scenery and catch your breath and drink some water and all. But yeah, anyways, let's keep going. Looking up here, I got our first look at Humpback Rocks from the trail. You can see it up there through the trees. Approaching these steps begins what I think is the most challenging part of the trail. It's about 3/4 of the way in. From this point is the steepest and most difficult climb of the entire trail. You do have to walk across some rocks. You know, it's not overly technical. I don't know if it's technically scrambling. I don't know when walking over rocks becomes scrambling, but there definitely are a bunch of rocks you have to walk over. So this here is the first stretch of downhill ground since we started about a mile ago. We're getting very close to the rocks, only about 800 feet from here. All right, here we go. This way to the rocks. And if we cut right, that would take us on the AT. That way, but I'm not gonna do any of that today, just this one hike. Some other day we'll come back here and do some sections of that. Trail here is closed, which is a bummer because I think that was going to be my return route. You know, it's a little steeper downhill, but it should have been a little faster. But I guess that's out of the question. Just guess I'll go back the same way I came up. Here we are, the Humpback Rocks, the reward for the climb. The views up here are just spectacular. Here I am making my way back down, retracing the same steps that I came on the way up. A lot of people say that going down is for them more difficult, and I guess if you have bad knees I can understand that, although I really don't understand it because I personally find the uphill climb to be much more challenging and tiring. Alright guys, well that was the Humpback Rocks Trail. I enjoyed that a lot. It was nice to be back out on the trails. I haven't been out in several months since winter started basically, so that felt good. Alright, well thanks for watching guys. We'll have more scamp-centric videos coming, I promise. Scamping season's about to start. Dawn and I are going to be out there doing it with Fanny, because scamps like us were born to camp. Alright guys, later.